Yes, yes, yes. Welcome back to another episode of Go Long Live. I am your host, Barry Long the second, not the first, not the third, but shout out to the first and the third, my father and my son. We are live on CoachellaValley.com. We are live on today's California.com. We are live on today's Canada.com. We are live all over the Twitterverse, the Metaverse, the Universe, you name it, we are live. We want to shout out Craig Campbell. Thanks to Craig Campbell for the platform. Also, shout out to Sage Alvarez for distributing the show. Now, I am honored. I am so excited to have our guest co-host today. I know him for a long time. He is one of the most recognizable faces out here in the Coachella Valley. He, without any further ado, I'm just going to bring him right on in. His name is Chris Long. He's been a news anchor out here. He's been a on-air personality. I used to work with him in a KESQ for a couple years. And we refer to each other as Brother Long. And what better person to bring on Go Long Live than Brother Long? So, Chris Long, how are you doing, sir?
I love it. Brother Long,
well, welcome, sir.
Could not be better. This is a treat and an honor to be on the air with you. As you said, you and I worked together for some number of years in local television here in Palm Springs. I always enjoyed your work. We always had a couple chuckles, and I know your love of sports rivals my love of sports. So let's have at it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And real quick, you've been a broadcaster for 43 years.
43-year career, mostly in news as a reporter and anchor. I was all over. I was in Chicago and Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and Phoenix, and then spent my final 13 years here at what was CBS Local 2 before that got blown out of the water. That's where you and I worked together.
Yes, sir.
And had a career. Again, it was mostly news, but I did cover a little sports from time to time. I know you want to get into Ohio State, Michigan. You can see where my allegiances lie. And years ago, I actually covered Ohio State, Michigan, both in Ann Arbor one year and in Columbus one year. So every once in a while, we didn't have a lot of bodies to cover sports, and I loved it enough that they, even though I was a news guy, they'd say, "Hey, Long, why don't you go to Ann Arbor and cover the game?" And I was all too happy to do it. So I've covered sports and news, mostly news, but wonderful 43-year career. Now I'm selling real estate, by the way, Brother Long.
Hey.
You know who to talk to.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. For sure. Now let's jump right into the Michigan, because Michigan finally defeated Ohio State for the first time in the Jim Harbaugh era. And a lot of people were calling for his job, saying, you know, if he can't beat Ohio State, then he doesn't deserve to be the coach of Michigan. Although he's having a great year this season. If they would have lost, they would have been 10-2, but instead they're 11-1, and they're sitting right there at number 2. And you're looking at going into the college football playoff. Now, how do you feel about that victory over your rival Ohio State Buckeyes?
Well, I was thrilled with it, and my allegiance to Michigan, I wasn't smart enough, Brother Long, to go to that high academic institution, but my parents were many, many years ago. There's Harbaugh right there. Talking, by the way, I believe, to Juwan Howard, the Michigan basketball coach. And so I was always a fan. A quick story: the very first football game I ever attended was at the Big House in Ann Arbor. I grew up first 10 years of my life in the Detroit area, and my dad and mom, as I said, went to the University of Michigan there. And in about 1957, I think, when I was about 7 years old, they took us over to Ann Arbor on a football Saturday. Back then, if you were an alum, which my dad was, you could take the whole family in for free, I think after the third quarter.
What?
You don't see it at the beginning. But I remember as about a 7 or 8 year old going into the Big House. It was Michigan, Minnesota that day, and watching the very first football game I ever saw. So as to the game itself Saturday, I was thrilled. I think Harbaugh's finally got a team together. He's got a terrific defense. That 97, and I can't think of his name, but he is a tremendous edge rusher. He's going to be one to watch in the Big Ten championship in Indianapolis this Saturday against the Iowa Hawkeyes. He's also got a quarterback now, and it was just great to see. And not only, I think, Brother Long, you'll agree, not only did they beat the Buckeyes this past Saturday, they thumped them pretty good. I mean,
they whooped them.
We'll see what happens. They play. What's his name? Ferentz is the head coach at Iowa. They play them in Indianapolis for the Big Ten championship this Saturday. I know I'll be watching. Iowa always has kind of a slow 3 yards in a cloud of dust type of running game. They're not a big passing, but they've got a solid defense. So it'll be interesting to see. But I know Michigan is favored by at least a touchdown. So I'm pulling for the Wolverines to win it and then get into that 14 playoff for the college championship.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's talk some more coaches that have made some news in college football. And one, that I really wanted to talk about with you is Lincoln Riley, because you have some near and dear, your heart is near and dear to Oklahoma, and Lincoln Riley, who has been named for a lot of these head coaching positions in the NFL because of what he's been able to do with those three quarterbacks that he's had in the Kyler Murray, the Baker Mayfield, and the Jalen Hurts. So we saw him, being named in a lot of different head coaching vacancies, but he ended up coming to USC on a big contract. And there's a lot of people that are trying to enter that transfer portal and follow my man Lincoln Riley to USC. How do you feel about Lincoln Riley leaving Oklahoma for USC? And do you think it was the right move?
Well, as an Oklahoma Sooner fan, and I was smart enough to get into Oklahoma because that's where I went to college, I was disappointed. I think he's a great coach. He's run a great program. We've never quite gotten over the hump. He has troubles winning the big game. He'll have, it seems like every year, his team just isn't ready and they will lose to a Kansas State or somebody they should not lose to. So he hasn't been flawless, but he's a very good recruiter. He certainly recruits California and Southern California very, very well, I'm told, and I read. So I think he's the perfect person for USC. I mean, USC, Brother Long, I think you'll agree, where it's located in that major metropolitan area like Los Angeles, and the type of kids that are available to him, even if you just stayed in California recruiting, that has to be a top program. And why USC? Why the Trojans have been so down since Pete Carroll left is a surprise to me. So I think they've got the right man. I can't blame him. I mean, you're talking about Oklahoma versus Los Angeles, the move. I have no idea about the money. I'm sure it's unbelievable, the money these coaches are making. I would suggest that you have little brother Long turn out to be a football coach, because it sounds like a great financial future for him. But no, I wasn't surprised, but we'll see what happens. But I know the USC alums have to be thrilled. And also, there's a lot of word, you've heard it too, that Lincoln Riley was not thrilled about going into the Southeastern Conference in a few years. He's kind of had the top of the heap there playing in the Big 12. Oklahoma was the top recruiter, the big name. So he was kind of always guaranteed at least playing for a conference championship. But when they go to the SEC, which is a couple of years off, I guess, I mean, you got the Alabamas and you got the Georgias and you got the LSUs and even the Ole Misses, and eventually the Tennessee will get back in shape. So it'll be a lot tougher. So I think one reason that he took that USC job was that he wasn't thrilled about Oklahoma moving into the tough Southeastern Conference.
Yeah, and we saw what Brian Kelly said, in his introductory press conference going to LSU, that he's looking for a challenge like that. But I feel like USC made the right decision with Lincoln Riley, because this is LA is a star-studded town, and if you're not winning and you don't have stars on your team, LA fans just don't have time to go watch the games. They just don't have time to be interested. So you got the Lakers; they got to go out and get the Shaqs and the Kobe's. You got the Rams. The Rams are making.
You mentioned Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray. I mean, he's done a lot of. He had problems this year. Had to bench Spencer Rattler, but people say he was grooming Caleb all along, who was a true freshman, I believe. So we'll see if he stays. Rattler's going to transfer, but that doesn't shock me. He'd been demoted anyway, so. It'll be now the move I don't understand is Kelly from Notre Dame to LSU. My thought on that, brother.
You don't like that move?
They make movies about Notre Dame football. They don't make movies. They don't make movies about LSU football. I just don't understand that. I mean, I think the stage in South Bend, Indiana, is so big. I mean, you've got an entire group of Catholics all around the world behind you. Why would leave that to go to Baton Rouge? It kind of mystifies me. I think there must have been something behind it. Deep pockets, certainly in Baton Rouge with their alums, but they've got the same in South Bend. They've got plenty of money to spend around. I just wonder if maybe he had a difficult time with the administration at Notre Dame. it could be something as simple as his wife didn't like living in South Bend. Who knows? These are all speculation. But I just don't see when you look at Notre Dame and the history of that place, every single game televised because they have their own network. I just don't really understand that move. And again, he's moving to the tough Southeast Conference where it's going to be tough to get wins, even for.
Yeah, and I think that maybe Brian Kelly is he's just a different type of cat, and he's going down there and he's looking for that challenge, and the thing that I feel is he's going to be able to recruit a little bit better down there in Louisiana, and I feel like there might have been some underlying conflict with the front office or something because he was very highly he spoke very highly of the front office at LSU, and it was kind of like he was trying to say something about the other front office, but he said that he's aligned with the front office. He loves the talent, and we'll see. I think it's going to be a challenge to go up against Nick Saban every year, and the SEC is only going to get better. But if anybody can do it, I think Brian Kelly can.
Yeah.
All right. So this is Chris.
Brother Long, you may have been alluding to it. I think LSU does not have stand Notre Dame, so maybe he can get some players who are not quite up to the academic standards you would have to be at Notre Dame. Maybe he can get those kids at LSU. That could help him.
That's a great point. All right, he is Chris Long. I am Barry Long II. This is Go Long Live. He is joining us. He is a longtime on-air personality. Been in broadcasting for 43 years, longer than I've been alive. So real quick, before we get into NFL football, this is Fed Up Friday, Brother Long. So we like to say what we're fed up with. And I just want to say I'm fed up with these places that do not take $100 bills. With the coin shortage and everything going on. I'm fed up with the price of bacon right now. Bacon is through the roof. $6.42 for great value bacon. And that's great value. That's the Walmart brand. So are you fed up with anything right now? It could be sports related. It could be anything.
Wow. Well, I'm impressed that they won't take your $100 bills. I don't know if I had a $100 bill in my hand. So, Brother Long, I'm proud of you. Things must be going very well. I guess like a lot of people, you're talking prices. So I'm fed up with the price of gas.
Oh, man.
I've even started going to the ATM before I fill my wife and my car up because you get about a dime off down if you pay cash. So that's my recommendation. But yeah, I think the oil prices are ridiculous. I think that they can't stay. But that's the inflation we are suffering right now. Let's hope it goes away before too much longer. But that's a good thing about sports. We can get into sports and we can forget all about that nonsense about what you're paying for bacon, right?
Absolutely. So we had a game last night, and we watched the Cowboys versus the Saints, 27-17. The Cowboys over the Saints. It was a relatively stagnant first half. We didn't see a lot of offense in that first half. Neither team could run the ball. Seemed like Dallas just abandoned the run early and even late. But the reason why the Saints couldn't really run the ball is because that defense, Dallas's defense, was too good, and they couldn't throw the ball either because they had Taysom Hill starting the quarterback. And I know Taysom Hill is a great athlete, one of the best athletes we've ever seen at the quarterback position. He came out of BYU running a 4.4 40. Taysom Hill is just built different. Look at those thighs. That is a horse. But Taysom Hill, for all the accolades that he gets with his ability to run the ball, run the RPO, he really is not a thrower of the football. And we saw, a couple of throws yesterday that really made us say, he's never going to be their guy, their starter. That's why they ultimately brought in Jameis Winston. But he was able to throw for 2 touchdowns and had 4 terrible interceptions. And he was able to carry the ball 11 times for 101 yards. You feel bad for a guy like Sean Payton because he's been there. He's been through ups and downs with his team, and it just seems like they've just been riddled with injuries this year, and they're not gonna make the playoffs. But on Dallas, on the other hand, they were able to, in the second half, they were able to finally get something going with that offense. We saw them do this without their head coach, Mike McCarthy, who was entering the COVID protocols. And Dan Quinn did a wonderful job of stepping in and being that leader on the sidelines that galvanized the troops. And whatever he said to them in halftime, they came out with a little bit more fire, and they were able to put the Saints away. Do you think that Dallas is a true contender for the Super Bowl this year? Because a lot of people are on that bandwagon early, and now once we saw them struggle a couple weeks, people are starting to doubt. What do you think, Brother Long?
Brother Long, I think the Cowboys are a very good team. I certainly see them getting into the playoff. They may even win the first game. But my problem with them, I've got a problem with Dak Prescott right now. I mean, I thought he missed a lot of very makeable passes. And I'm thinking I think it was a tight end. The guy was wide on. He threw it behind him. And he's had a lot of issues apparently with the ball club. I don't know if it's affecting. He's a great player. I'm not arguing with Mississippi State, but I just don't know the reason along that I'm comparing that I see. I think they're just as strong as can be right now. I think I'm talking to the NFC. I still think Brady and the Buccaneers have got to be dealt with. They're very, very good. The Rams have fallen off, as you know that I'm a time Lion, so I've seen Matthew Stafford for years. It surprised me because good Matthew and there's a bad Matthew. And Rams fans who thought he was the be all and end all, and don't get me wrong, he's got one of the strongest in the NFL. But he has days like he did in his last game. He can't hit the broadside of a barn. I don't know if it's injuries or what. And I still think the Rams are good. Don't get me wrong. I think maybe at the end too. But they're going to walk. A lot of people thought when they get Von Miller, and they get OBJ, who hadn't done a thing yet, thought that they were going to walk away with that NFC title. I'm not so sure. The team I really like are the Green Bay Packers. But to answer your question, yeah, I think the Cowboys. I love Gallup. I love that running back they've got now. I'm not talking
Pollard?
about the main running back. They got what's his name?
Ezekiel Elliott, and Tony Pollard.
They got another running back who did very well last night. Not Ezekiel, the other one.
Tony Pollard.
Anyway, he's very good too. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pollard.
Yeah, Pollard.
We'll see what happens. I think
Yeah, and I agree. I really do agree. So Brother Long, we are live on CoachellaValley.com. I am Barry Long II. You are Chris Long. Now, Chris Long, we got to talk about your team really quick. We got to talk about the Detroit Lions. Now, we've seen they're 0-10. I'm sorry? I'm sorry?
I'm just saying, do people think we're actually not related despite brother?
Yeah.
We're brothers from another mother.
Yeah, we are. We're not. Yeah, no relation whatsoever. All right, so your Lions are 0-10-1. It must feel terrible. I know you guys went 0-16 in what was that, 2008? So do you think you'll go undefeated this year?
Yeah. Well, we got that one tie against the Steelers. I think we get a win. It won't be this week. We have DeAndre Swift, and he's such a big part of our offense, not only running out of the backfield, but catching passes out of the backfield. Although I love Jamal Williams, the kid we got out from Green Bay. I think he's a tremendous talent and a fascinating young man. I've watched a lot of his news conferences. He's a real character. We've got Atlanta. Atlanta's not very good. We could beat them. We might get lucky, although it's in Denver with the high altitude, but we might get lucky against the Broncos. Or what happened, Brother Long, is we play the Packers in Detroit last game of the season. By then, the Packers could easily be sitting all of their starters getting ready for the playoffs, so we could sneak in with a win right there. But yeah, I think the Lions will get at least one. I don't want us to get any more because as it stands right now, I believe it's Jacksonville, has one win, and has 2 wins. So we can get one win and still hold on to that number 1 draft pick next year. And that's what I want to see. But I think it's pretty safe to say the Lions probably won't get more than 1 win. I like the coach, Dan Campbell. I know you wanted to talk about that. He came in, he was at New Orleans, he was at Miami. He played ball at Texas A&M, played in the National Football. A lot of the teams, the Lions. He was on that 0-16 team, by the way, as a tight end.
Yeah,
so
yeah, he was.
I think he came in a little hot, want to bite your kneecaps off. But
let's play that real
quick. I'm not wild about him calling his own play. But all in all, I feel good, and maybe in 2 or 3 years, the Lions might go 9-8. Who knows?
The city, all right, and the city's been down, and it found a way to get up. All right, it's found a way to overcome adversity. All right, and so this team's going to be built on. We're going to kick you in the teeth. All right, and when you punch us back, we're going to smile at you, and when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off. All right, and we're going to stand up, and then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. All right, and on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap, and we're going to get up, and then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down. We're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing.
Yeah, and I just when I saw that, I was like, oh my goodness, I prayed for Detroit. But yeah, he did come in a little too hot. But there's another press conference where he's crying after a loss, and he really wears his emotions on his sleeve. And I really do feel bad for Dan Campbell. And I would like to see Dan Campbell finally get a win. And I hope that it happens pretty soon. But yeah, you got the Broncos coming up, the Cardinals, the Falcons. You guys played the Packers pretty well, although the first meeting between the Packers and the Lions, it was a really close first half, and then the Packers do what they normally do, and they made great second half adjustments, and they were able to take over that game. But how do you feel about Jared Goff? Is he the quarterback for the future, Jared Goff?
You were breaking. I didn't hear you, Brother Long. What happened?
How do you feel about Jared Goff?
Did
Jared
you have a
Goff.
question?
Yeah, Jared Goff. How do you feel about him?
Oh, yeah, I got you now. What I don't like about him is his reluctance to throw the ball downfield. I don't know if he likes the stats of completing a lot of passes, the percentage, but he's just, and in his defense, he doesn't have very good wide receivers. I'll say that. But I don't think he's the answer. I think he's a 2-year quarterback for the Lions. He'll be back next year. Whether we draft one, whether we trade one, we'll wait and see. But I like his attitude. I mean, he doesn't give up even with no wins and 10 losses. But it seems to me that he made the Super Bowl with the Rams, coaching the team that was around him. I don't think he's a top-tier quarterback at all. I think we get a quarterback. And Stafford was great, no doubt about it, but we got into a few playoffs with him, and we couldn't win a game in the playoffs. So, as I said, Stafford has some days when he's not sharp either. So we'll see what happens. I don't think this year's quarterback class is not expected to be all that good. I think if we get the number 1 pick, we'll probably – I hope we go for that big edge rusher out of Oregon. I believe his name is Thibodeau or something. He's supposed to be a defensive stalwart, so we'll see. But no, a Goff average. I think he'll be the Lions quarterback next year, but after that, we got to find a QB. How about you, Brother Long? I got an idea you'd be a pretty good QB.
Yeah, I was nice a little bit back in the day, but yeah, I mean, I would love to play quarterback outside, somewhere in some kind of league, some kind of intramural league. But that's for another day, another topic. Brother Long, we're gonna let you go. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. You are welcome to come back to Go Long Live anytime you'd like.
Brother
Yes, sir.
Long, you
Thank
just
you.
let me know it was a treat, and very happy holiday to you and all your viewers.
You too, sir. Thank you very much. Take care. And that was a treat, man. Chris Long, long time, broadcaster out here. Very, very good friend of mine. Very, very good guy. Just a great guy. Just all around good guy. Knows his sports. Well known out here. One of the most recognizable faces, like I said, out here. All right, so real quick, we're gonna just talk about just so you guys can retweet this out. We got comments. You guys can comment on there. You guys can share the post. We are live on CoachellaValley.com, live on today'scalifornia.com, live on today'scanada.com. And just real quick, just going to preview some of these matchups. We got the Colts and the Texans. That's going to be a pretty big game for the Colts. They're going to have to figure out whether or not they are going to win this division or not, because it's right there for the taking. And we've seen the Titans. They don't have Derrick Henry, and they're not going to get him back for quite a couple more weeks. And the Colts have, they've been this Jekyll and Hyde type of situation. We don't know which Carson Wentz we're going to get, but we do know that they have one of the best O-lines. They have the best running back in the game now that Derrick Henry is not in there. And they have a pretty good defense. So when we look at what's going to happen in this game, they have got to beat the Texans. We saw what the Titans did. They kind of struggle with the Texans. And the Texans they would like nothing more than to spoil anybody in their division's chances to make it to the playoffs, or to make it, deep into the playoffs. So the Texans are definitely playing spoilers. The Colts are going to have to step their game up, and they're going to have to prove that they can beat bad teams. All right. And then we have another very important matchup that I believe is the Washington football team versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, the Raiders, they need to figure out who they're going to be. This division is also up for the grabs. The Chiefs are not really convincing anybody that they are going to take this division by, and we've seen the Broncos are starting to play better. We've seen the Chargers have faltered off the last couple of weeks. Justin Herbert is not playing as well as he's been playing earlier in the season. So we'll see what the Raiders can do, because the Raiders need this win, and they have got to beat a team like the Washington football team. Now, the Washington football team, they're coming in, riding high off of this victory that they just had on Monday night, and they want to continue to win. Their division is not the best division, the NFC East, which people affectionately call the NFC least. So we'll see what they can do. But I'm happy for Taylor Heineke. I think that Washington has found a quarterback, and I'm excited to see who wins this game, because these are going to be swing games. These are games where you lose this game, now you're down 2-3 games in the division. If you win this game, now you're right there, 1 or 2 games out of the division lead. So this is going to be a major game for them. And the Steelers and Ravens. Yes. Dun, dun, dun. This is a very exciting week for me. Steelers week. I am a Ravens fan, as many of you know. And I am excited to see finally us play against a Steelers team that is, not as good as previously. And they don't. And this is the end of the road for Ben Roethlisberger. Now, we saw Drew Brees last year. He went through his whole season, and everybody was talking about when is he going to retire. He's struggling throwing the ball down the field. And it's the same thing with Big Ben Roethlisberger right now. And, as great of a competitor as he's been, and as great of a rivalry as the Ravens versus Steelers is, you cannot say anything more than to tip your hat to Ben Roethlisberger for what a great career he's had. But, it's coming down to the wire. And this division is also one that is up for grabs. The Ravens are, of course, leading this division right now. At 8-3, but you got the Bengals right there at 7-4. Steelers are 5-5-1, thanks to Chris Long's Lions. But if the Steelers win this game and the Raiders and the Ravens lose, then we're looking at it's flip flop. This is probably one of the closest divisions in the NFL with respects to the AFC West. So this is going to be a key game. I'm excited to watch this game, and the game of the week that we are all ready to see, and that is the Buffalo Bills versus the New England Patriots. Because earlier in the season, the Patriots started off 2-4. They just went on this crazy win streak. They looked phenomenal. Mac Jones is here, and he's here to stay. They found a quarterback. And the Bills were overhyped this postseason, this preseason. Everybody was talking about what Jonathan Allen's going to do. Josh Allen's going to do. And Josh Allen, looked good through the first couple of weeks. But he struggled, here and there. They lost some games that they should have won. especially losing to the Jaguars, only putting up 6 points, losing 9-6. You know, they've been sliding lately, and the Patriots have been peaking. So we'll see. This game is going to be very important. I want to see what Brian Daboll, the offensive coordinator, is going to do, and how he's going to set up this Patriots defense, because this Patriots defense is the reason why they're winning, why they are the best defense in the league, why they have the number one takeaways in the league. And when you give Mac Jones a running game and you give him a good defense, he's a little bit more than a game manager. He can get the job done. So I really do like the Patriots in this matchup, but the Patriots and Bills play another time within the next couple of weeks. So we'll see. We will see. And the last matchup that I am really, really focusing on is going to be the Eagles and the Jets. It's like it's the Broncos and the Chiefs. We want to see the Broncos and the Chiefs. This is a very tight division. This is going to be a very important game for both. Teddy Bridgewater has been playing good. He's been playing better and better. This division is so close, it's not even funny. 7-4, the Chiefs lead it, but you've got 3 teams at 6-5-0, 6-5-0, 6-5-0. Broncos, Raiders, Chargers. So whoever wins this game is going to be bumped up ahead. If the Broncos beat the Chiefs, they automatically bump up, take the tiebreaker. And if they lose, then the Chiefs create a little bit more space between them and everybody else. So it's been a wonderful day here. We appreciate Chris Long, Brother Long, for joining us. We also appreciate everybody for tuning in. We will be back on Monday. Mo Murphy will be back with us Monday. And just want to leave you with Jameis Winston.
Give overall shape to the way this played out, Jameis.
Well, I just think we were prepared. You know, one thing my trainer, he told me, he said, what did he say? He just told us to be prepared.
He just told us to be prepared. All right. So go out there and have some fun, man. Y'all enjoy all this football that's going on this weekend. Enjoy the college football. Enjoy the college basketball. It's going to be some good NBA games on this weekend as well. We can't leave without doing a meme of the day. Since we didn't have a show yesterday, we'll do a couple of memes real quick. This was the official sports drink when I was a kid. That is an awesome meme right there, because you remember being a kid and just playing outside, and there was no Gatorade. There was no the store was too far. It was hot outside. You just went right to that water hose. And if you found a cold water hose, oh my God, you hit the jackpot. And the last one, when the Notre Dame job possibly opening, this might be the second thing to fall into Urban Meyer's lap this year. That is terrible. That is terrible. But Urban Meyer's been known to leave programs. But that's just the nature of coaching. You always want to get to a better job, or you always want to get to a job where you know that you belong. All right. So stay focused, stay motivated, stay inspired. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. Remember, you're capable of doing anything, so go out and do it. I'll talk to you on Monday. Peace.